Hello. Good morning. How are we this morning? Can anybody hear me? Cool. Hi, David Browne.
We're all muted.
Oh, dear, dear, dear. It's been one of those mornings. So I had a career seminar last night and brought my computer home because my husband is working from home and he had a Zoom meeting last night. So I had to bring mine home. And, had some technical issues, like internet went down once or twice. It was really windy here last night. So I was sitting out on our 3-season room and moved inside to finish it up and left my plug for my computer there. So I got to my office this morning and my computer died. So had to hop in the car and come back home and plug in. So it's been interesting so far. Hopefully all of your days started off better than that. David, you're muted, hon.
There you are. I was wondering why you kept interrupting me, Doc. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
I should be on a Verizon commercial now, right?
I know, right? So how are you this morning?
I'm fabulous.
Yeah.
How's everyone out there in real estate world?
Not bad.
Thumbs up. There you go. Okay.
I saw Sarah coming into the office today as I was leaving.
Who's that?
I saw Sarah
Oh, okay.
was coming in as I was leaving to come home to get my stupid cord. So yeah. Let's give it just a few more minutes. I know that Mary Corcoran was going to hop on. She was driving, and let's just see, if we get a few others. Generally, people trickle in anywhere between now and 9 o'clock or 9:06. So are you all ready for your big interview, David?
As ready as I'm gonna be, right?
Well, we try to keep.
One thing I've learned over the years is you can prepare all you want, but you have to be careful of too much preparation because that gets in the way of action.
Right.
Oftentimes,
Very true. Is that a bold thing?
I'm not quite sure.
It should be if it's not.
I know, right? I mean, I am definitely known as being my license plate even says "Be bold."
Oh, cool! I did not know that.
So.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so I'm definitely a big advocate for bold. If it wasn't for bold, it wouldn't. I'm not quite sure if I'd be here.
Very cool. Let's see. We've got Ron on there. Good morning. And then we've got Alexandria. Good morning, sweetie. And Jennifer.
Good morning.
Are you working out? Are you not showing your face?
I just finished.
All right.
I'm a little late today.
All right. And then there's Rita. We're probably not going to see her face this morning either.
Good morning.
Good morning. Hi, Jessica. Hi, Eileen. Good morning, Sarah. And good morning, Mike. Good to see you all. Give it just one more minute.
Yeah.
I'll go easy on you, David, I promise.
That's all right.
I'm not that scary.
I'm not afraid of failing. Fail forward, right?
You're not going to fail.
I know.
I'm happy to see some of our new people on here this morning. That makes me so very happy.
Yeah, I think there's a few people I know and a few people I don't know. So
okay,
I know Rita and Sarah. Jessica's on here.
Eileen Weber is Bob Malone's admin.
Who is? Oh, okay.
And do you know Jennifer? Jennifer Russell?
Name sounds familiar if I saw a face,
She won't show you her face. She's done working out. She's working out.
That's okay.
She's been in the office for a while. You're probably you probably know who she is and just don't realize it.
Right. You get so busy and, especially now with us not working from the office all the time.
Yeah.
I used to be in the office all the time.
Yep.
Now that I'm
Truth.
working from home.
Truth. And then Mike Doty's brand new. Actually 2 weeks now, Mike. Okay. He's
I
working
believe
with
he's my newest Facebook friend. Yeah. Hey, there you go.
he's with the Jenna May team, and then Alexandria. She is new last week. There she is.
Morning.
And Ron Stevens has been with us. He joined us just before COVID.
Okay, I've seen his name. I don't think we've met, but that's the reality of COVID, right?
Yeah. And Mary Corcoran, there she is, pretty
Yes.
girl.
Good morning, Mary.
You're muted, doll.
Oh.
There we go.
There you go.
Hello.
Not for nothing. We need signs so we can,
Oh my goodness.
Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it. Thank you, David, for being so kind to take time out of your busy schedule to be our special guest. First and foremost, congratulations on capping.
Thank
Totally
you.
awesome.
Yeah.
That is the best. You've managed to earn yourself a 36% raise, right? So
Oh, yeah. Especially during the year of COVID, and I did it in record time. I've got seven months remaining.
awesome.
So
Awesome.
I'm shocked with the whole COVID thing.
So let's talk a little bit about that. So let's talk about your journey. If you could kind of go back and start us from the beginning. What did you do prior to real estate? How many years have you been in the business? Were you somewhere else before us?
Right.
Dish it out, dude.
Right. Okay. Well, I was born and raised in Rochester. Basically, I've been in customer service my whole life. I started off my first, what I would consider a real job, was for Shadow Lake, Shadow Pines, and Penfield. I was a dishwasher. Then I stepped up into busing and serving and stuff. And just from then, I was just always in customer service. People have, I don't care what industry you're in the people business. And I've always enjoyed working with people. Being social and all that. I've been real estate. It's interesting because when you're newer, one of those questions sometimes, I never got it too much, but sometimes can be, oh, how long have you been in the business? So I feel that question is very broad. So I was in the real estate business for 13 years before I even became a real estate agent, because I was an investor. So right from the get-go, I said, oh, I've been in the real estate business for 13 years, and so I took that approach. But I was an investor. I bought my first property when I was 29 years old, following the death of one of my best friends, and then went from there with real estate. I've been licensed with Keller Williams for going on, about 5.5 years, a little over 5 years. Best decision I think I've ever made, personally. And I got into coaching. When I first started, coaching was not, it was so brand new. And I was on a team, so I went with the team approach versus the coaching. And for me, I think even when you're on a team, if you can be in coaching, not to overstep, team leads, I don't want to go that route, but for me, coaching, it became, Lisa Wasson was my first coach. And I will tell you, if there's a person in this industry that saved my business, it was Lisa Wasson.
Awesome.
And even if she wasn't my coach, having someone hold me accountable and helping me guide through so I'm not blinded is so crucial. So that's, so I got into coaching, and so I was with FedEx office for over 20 years, formerly known as Kinko's. Some of you may be too young to know Kinko's, and some of you may be very well aware of them. It used to be a household name. And I got tired of working for someone else and decided to get into real estate as a licensed agent and become my own boss.
Awesome.
So,
So you got licensed and you've only ever been with us. Is that what you're saying?
correct.
Okay. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about, do you mind if I ask how old you are now?
I just turned 47.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. So
I know, I
almost,
look 25, I know.
you do, you do. So, okay. So not to mean this in a bad way or sounding harsh, but almost 20 years later, okay, almost 20 years from when you purchased your first investment property,
Right.
what does that look like now? Where are you at? Are you still continuing to purchase? How does one go about doing that stuff?
Oh, yeah. Actually, I purchased 2 properties earlier this year. I'm actually decided to move into one of them. I'm sitting in one of them, in around the quite.
I like the fireplace, by the way.
Oh, thank you. And handmade, my mom's from West Virginia, where it's all railroads and coal mining and everything. And one of my cousins made this train track behind me.
Very
So
cool.
it's something I personally love. But yeah, this room I'm in is actually the main room that really allowed me to see the opportunity in the house, But yeah, I bought a couple of houses earlier this year and fixed this one up. The other one was turnkey, so I immediately got tenants in that. When I went under contract, it was right before the whole COVID shutdown. And I'm glad I did it right before, because I think I would have allowed the whole COVID thing to maybe not allow me to go on a contract, and I would have lost opportunity.
Mhm.
And that kind of, in hindsight, I'm a big reflector. I reflect a lot. And, I think that human nature leads us, that fear, in bold, it says fear is a false evidence appearing real. So often we allow things to hold us, to not allow us to make decisions.
Right.
And we're not going to always make the right decisions. And to me, it's not about making the right decisions all the time. It's about learning how to make decisions.
Gotcha.
So often we, do that. But yeah, so I bought a couple of houses earlier this year. And personally, if I didn't buy my first property, which is a 2-family, when I was 29, I really honestly don't believe I'd be here financially,
How did you go about navigating that? I mean, you're 29 years old. How did you get the courage or the know-how to go about buying an investment property? And was it something that you rented both sides, or did you live out of one? How did that work out for you?
I lived on one side. And to me, because I wasn't making a lot of money, but I wanted to buy a house, a single family would have only allowed me to buy like a house for like $30,000-$40,000. I can't remember exactly, but I was not qualified to buy, just pay a lot of money. And I'm like, well, there's no way I'm going to be buying a house, unless, it's complete wreck, and then it's not financeable. So I decided, well, let me look into multifamily, And so, yeah, so I bought my first multifamily, and I lived on one side, rented out the other side, and learned from that, I learned actually last year that real estate, it's interesting because I never knew this. Real estate, if you were to buy a house today for $100,000 and you were to get a 30-year mortgage, okay, and over the next 30 years, you rent that out. And let's assume you make 0 cash flow, okay? And let's say in 30 years, that house is only worth $100,000. In other words, you've had 0 cash flow and 0 appreciation. You have still made an 8.64% rate of return year over year, because your tenants have paid your mortgage. Your tenants have paid. So you have bought a $100,000 home for $20,000, because you're 20% down with a little closing costs in there. And because the tenants, even though you're not pocketing anything, the tenants are paying that house off. So
Right.
you're turning a $20,000 investment into $100,000 over the next 30 years. And
Right.
that rate of return is an 8.64. And to me, I just don't see any other avenue of making such a, I consider it a pretty conservative investment. You know, it's not that risky unless you're not paying attention to the houses, you know. And to me, there's just no better opportunity than buying investment, you know.
Right.
You know,
Right.
so
But you also have
David,
to have the wherewithal to be able to manage, you know, your tenants and things like that. Are you a handy guy? Can you fix things, or do you just have a portfolio of people?
yeah, no, I'm not handy. My stepfather, God bless him, he passed away a little over a year ago. My first house, him and I, that was the first place that him and I had our first major project together.
Oh.
And while I learned a lot from him, in the end, I don't really know a lot. And that's okay, because especially now that I'm a real estate agent, I don't like doing things myself, because there's so many people out there that I can network with.
Gotcha.
Right. So to me, if I can, let's say a hot water tank, right? I mean, I could, if I knew how to do it, I could go to Home Depot, buy a hot water tank for $500, $600, do it myself. Or I can network with someone, pay them $1,200 to do it. And yeah, it's a little money out of my pocket, but as long as I'm holding them accountable to send me, it's I scratch your back, you scratch mine. That allows me to build a network of business people out there that are going to be sending me business. So for that $600 that I'm sending out, just as an example, I might be making a $3,000 commission.
Mm-hmm.
So in a sense, not only, you could actually say I'm not paying for it, right? And I'm making money off of having someone else do the work for me. So, I think personally, that's possibly one of the biggest things that real estate agents don't see until maybe later on. I think we all, as we get experience, see it. But especially when you're newer, it's, networking with people and the right people, because there's a lot of, have to be careful of contractors,
Well, and you're leveraging your time too, which is great.
Exactly. Why am I going to spend 5 hours doing something when I can, how many phone calls, how many people can I connect in with over that 5 hour period of time?
Right.
And to me, if it's a 5 hour job and I'm paying $500, for example, that's $100 an hour.
Yeah.
Oh, you have to value yourself, consider yourself worth more than $100 an hour.
Yep. For sure.
You're a licensed professional.
Mary, were you going to jump in?
I was at some point. I can't remember exactly now. I'll think about it. How many units do you currently own, David? Is rentals mostly what you do?
Yeah. Right now, I sold some earlier this year. Right now I only have 3 single families. I got out of the multifamily, realm. I like multifamily, and personally, especially when you're newer, I think it's a good thing. But for me, I'm more of a single family person. It's easier to manage tenants because tenants are going to tend to be there longer, because you don't have the 2 sides fighting and bickering, especially over parking or whatever, and all it takes is to get one bad tenant in there, and then all of a sudden you lose a good tenant.
Right.
You can get a little bit more rent per unit. And then on the resale, when you go to sell, you're marketing towards the emotional base of home ownership versus the numbers driven investor that you're going to be more open to on the resale of the multifamily. So for me, you fix it up a little bit and it's easier to get a better rate of return on the resale aspect of the single family. In most cases, that's just how I see it for me right now.
Yeah. And it sounds like currently, at least, you're not doing your own construction work, but you're doing your own property management. So you're collecting the rents and all of that sort of thing. Or do you pay a property management company?
No, I do it myself. I believe in, you take care of the tenants, and, if I had 500, maybe I would, but having 3 houses, I think it's very manageable. I tend to not have issues. I mean, I buy my tenants each a turkey for Thanksgiving and a ham for Christmas. I keep the places maintained well, and I treat them with respect. And I find that when you do that, the tenants, especially if they've had bad experiences in the past, they don't want to screw up.
Right.
You're going to have a tendency to have better tenants that way too.
Right.
There's a lot of, to me too, as an investor, there's a lot of opportunity there because unfortunately there's a mindset out there of a lot of investors, and I'm not knocking them. I'm just saying this is a real mindset of the tenants are going to destroy the place anyway. Why am I going to really fix it up? Well, that's a double-edged sword, because if you don't fix it up, you're generally speaking only going to get the tenants that are going to destroy it, right? So for me, I like to fix it up nicely. It doesn't cost that much, fix it up nicely, get them in, treat them with respect, and they're not gonna destroy it. Out of all my tenants over the years, I've only had one bad tenant. One set of tenants that got drug rated. It was when Cuomo was the head of narcotics in all of New York State, and he went all over New York. It was all over the news. 17 houses in Rochester got busted, and a half a dozen in Syracuse. Oh, my house was one of them. And other than that, I mean, they paid on time every month. I have a done with a thing. But I didn't have a front and back door. I didn't have a toilet. I didn't have anything after that. So.
Oh my God.
Is that called winning? I don't know.
What's that?
Is that winning? I don't know.
It's called learning.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. And that's not too bad, right? Only one after all these years. Do you have certain areas you try to focus in? I mean, why do you first I'll ask you that question. Like any certain part of town that you like to focus in?
Yeah, my favorite is 14609. The in between Clifford and Norton, and between Portland and Waring Road. Where Bausch is, that like that section there. Actually, one of the houses I bought earlier this year is literally diagonal from cross street from the gas station and diagonal from Bausch and Lomb. But yeah, that's my favorite area. You get a lot of really good tenant base, and there's not much that tends to come up in that area, and a lot of tenants like that area. It's one of the more economical areas for tenants, without having to go into areas that are, that make them feel unsafe or, whatever. But yeah, you can get good rents, get good tenants as long as you screen them well and take care of them. So, 14609, and last year it was the #1 zip code in the entire nation.
Nice.
Okay.
Very nice.
Okay.
Which a lot of people don't realize. It is very interesting.
That is interesting.
Let's shift gears a bit. Let's start talking about real estate and your business. So you got into the business, and do you know numbers? Like, where did you end up your first year, and how did you work on growing your business so that you got to capping the fastest ever? I don't know. Sounds appealing to me.
First year, I personally, in my first year, I had 2 sales for a total of $195,000.
Okay.
I had passion, I had grit, and I had drive though. I'm a firm believer that I hear people get into this business, say, oh, I got into it to make money, right? A lot of people think you can, real estate agents make an ungodly amount of money. And to me, I almost can tell who's not going to make it, because I tell people there's people out there making tens of millions of dollars a year off of the sales of paper clips.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if people can make $10 million in a year off of the sale of paper clips, you can make money in any industry. Right. The question is, where's your passion, right? So I've always had the passion for that. But then, so my first year I did 2 sales for $195,000, and then I hired Lisa Watson as my coach, and that the first 6 months of that I did just shy of 2 million in business.
Cool.
Yeah, and then so I can't really remember exactly. I don't want to get into all the specifics because I don't want to. But 2 years ago, I did, I think what was it? I think it was 3.6 million. Last year, it was a down year for me. The two most influential men in my life passed away within 3 weeks of each other. So I only really worked for probably about 6 months last year overall. But last year I did, I think it was 2.4, 2.6 million. This year, between, referral business and all that stuff, I'm probably going to be a little over 4 million. But again, that's also during COVID. I actually had several listings getting ready to go live, and then we got shut down, and I never got those listings back. They decided not to sell. So, so yeah, just gradual,
But what is it about when you started coaching with Lisa, like what were the big changes she had you do that really kind of helped elevate your business and keep it on this growth pattern?
Well, I think two key elements: accountability, and I found her to be my biggest cheerleader. Especially in this business, it's so easy to feel defeated. It's so easy to feel beat up, and having someone on your side cheering you on and telling you can do this. To me, those are the two biggest things. She set me, we sat down, we went over goals. Everybody's goals are different, right? There's people that want to do $50 million a year. Not everybody wants to do that. Doing $50 million a year can take up a lot of, time. So going over my business, my dog is here, by the way. I can be a little distracted now. But yeah, accountability, so we went over goals, and, every week we, went over where I was going, what I was doing, and then she was my cheerleader. So, so.
How are you with systems? Like, do you have a fairly structured day? Do you start every day doing your 2 hours of lead gen, or are you more loosey-goosey? Like, what's your process? I
have no system. I will tell you that I am not very systematic. That's just me. I'm very ADHD. It's very hard for me to focus. I can focus when I have specific, jobs for clients or, whatnot. So I can certainly focus there. But especially with lead gen and stuff like that, I'm not good at it, However, I am good at Facebook specifically. To me, I've had people say, "Oh, how do you have time to be on Facebook?" And I find that to be interesting because it literally takes 30 seconds to post something, and if you post 5 things throughout the day, that's 30 seconds times 5. Okay, right? I mean, in all reality, how much time is it taking you, right? But people see 5 posts and they say, "Oh, geez, you're on Facebook all the time." Well, no, not really, However, 95% of my business has probably been through Facebook.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
So how does that work? Is that Facebook advertising or just commenting on other people's posts and just being out there?
Yeah, when I have a listing, I'll boost it. I don't boost it for leads specifically, because at least for me, I don't know if I may have gotten a couple leads over the years through boosting. For me, it's more of staying top of mind with my database. When you boost, it's, the more you're in front of them, the better, right? And so for me, it wasn't about lead gen specifically directly. It was more for just staying top of mind. So yeah, and then all of a sudden people are reaching out to me, and that's, that's where, that's how I built my business by large. But which for me, I've also, going back to your question about systems, One thing I've told myself going into this year, and of course, the whole COVID thing happened, is I said, if I can do what I'm doing without really doing any lead gen, where can I go? Should I start getting more disciplined with that lead gen?
Right.
So, that's where I was with that. I'm trying to think.
So with pertaining to coaching, so other than the accountability piece, were there specific tasks and things that you were given to do, or did you just really already know what to do and just, having somebody hold your foot to the fire was all the difference you needed?
I'd already been in the business for a year, so there was some level of knowledge, experience there. But yeah, I mean, there were tasks, I'm not, to be honest, I can't even quite remember. I mean, it's been, 4 or 5 years now. I think the biggest thing was probably creating my database of people I network with and people I know and all that stuff. And then following up. I also found that anyone who's in coaching, I find a lot of value in letting people know you are in coaching. Okay, because it's kind of like that secret agent, right? None of us want to be that secret agent. So when I got into this business, everyone I came in contact with knew I was an agent. I even had one guy I've known for a long time, like, oh my God, here you come. I know you're an agent. But everyone got to know I was an agent. I didn't beat them over the head with things, but I would make sure they knew.
Sure.
And the same thing with coaching, because I believe that when people see that you are finding value in bettering yourself for the sake of taking care of them, they're going to respect that.
Sure.
Especially when you're a newer agent, your friends, family, close family, they might, maybe not, they might though be a little reserved on working with you because you are newer and they want that experience. And when you have that, that coach, like I had with Lisa, she had been in the business over 20 years. She was, nominated for top woman of the year one year, I think, if I remember. So there's a lot of, what's the word I'm trying to think of?
There's a lot of accolades.
A lot of credibility there.
Sure.
For people to know, okay, well, yeah, you've only been in the business for 6 months. But I'm still getting that team of experts that's been in the business for a while or something.
Well, it's kind of like you are shouting it out on the rooftops that you're investing in yourself and in your business, by taking on a coach and so on and so forth. So in a way, that has a way of kind of separating you from the rest, to begin with, because again, you're putting the time, money, effort, energy into, getting a coach, which is great.
Exactly. And I also found a couple of times that helped me address objectives. So, if you are sitting down with a person or talking with them over the phone or whatever, and they give you that objective of, oh, you've only been in the business for 3 months, it's so much easier to address that objective when you have someone that's been in the business for a while. And coaching, because you can say, well, I'm happy you brought that up. Right. Because, it's not just me you're getting when you hire me. I've actually gone out and hired a coach that specializes in real estate that you are also getting behind the scenes that is going to be working with me. Right. That type.
So a lot of it is really just mindset and, just getting out of your own way, right? Like removing your limiting beliefs and so on and so forth. Know that you are a huge proponent of Bold. So let's talk a little bit about that. How many times have you taken Bold?
Well, every year, so five times I think it's been so far.
Okay, and so for
funny,
those
is that
people,
coming around, by the way?
It's virtual.
Virtual, okay.
It's virtual. So let's talk about Bold. For the people that are on this call that have no idea what we're talking about, give them a little bit of a summary as far as what that entails and how that helped you.
Okay, well, Bold, for those who don't know, stands for Business Objective Life by Design. Okay, it's there to acknowledge that we are in a business that requires much dedication and commitment and a lot of work and hard work. And at the same time, acknowledging that we have a life that we need to live with. It's so easy, and just any business, especially real estate, to wake up one day 10 years later and like, oh my goodness, I haven't had a vacation in 10 years. You know, oh my God, my kids are 18 years old now. How did you get so old? It's really that easy to let that stuff get, past you without even realizing it. And then Bold really helps you stay focused on, commitment, but also commitment not only to business, but also your personal life. And how to maintain that balance. It helps you, helps hold you accountable for a number of calls. As systematic as I am not, I am actually very systematic during Bold. And when I look back on, time that I have had the best success, it has always been the months following Bold. Okay, because they say what you are doing today, production-wise, is what is a result of the work that you put in 3 to 6 months ago. Mm-hmm. Right. So when you're making calls today, those calls today aren't going to amount to a closing tomorrow, right? They're going, over the next couple of months, you might have meetings, you might be showing some houses. If it's a buyer, if it's a seller, you're prepping them to list their home, and then you're, listing their home. So right now, we're already in the 2021 market. And that's actually one thing I learned, not in the first year, because each time you take Bold, you're always learning something. I don't care how many times you've taken it. Well, that's one thing I learned is my ADHD just went like that. I forgot what I was going to say. What was that? What did I say there? Oh, that's such a huge, important part too.
You said right now we're in the 2021 market.
Oh, yes. I used to always think this time of year, I was still in the 2020 mindset, but in reality, we are no longer in the 2020 real estate market. If you're currently working with sellers or buyers, you might be able to get them closed this year, right? But any phone calls you're making, any business, that you're working on to bring in, most likely is not going to be closing in 2020. So, you should already have your goals set out for 2021. You should already know what you are doing, because if you wait till January 1st to start your 2021 business, you're already 2 months behind.
Sure.
I mean, that's just a reality. So if your goal is to do 30 units, and you're waiting 2 months into your fiscal year, it's going to be that much harder to achieve that, because you've already let, where that 15% of your year go by.
Sure, exactly.
So
exactly. So Bold is virtual, by the way. I think it either just started or it's starting shortly.
Okay.
So I can.
So have you started your business planning yet, David, for the year, for next year?
Oh yeah, yes I have. Actually, I just brought on. There's been a gentleman that about a year ago, we started talking about him getting licensed and coming on my team as a buyer agent. Of course, COVID then happened. He was scheduled to take his license on, I can't even remember what day it was. It was a Monday or Tuesday, and that previous Friday is when everything got shut down. So he wasn't able to take it, and he just recently took it. But things have changed in his life and everything, where he doesn't have that availability to really be a buyer agent, so to speak. So we're partnering up, try to bring on more business and stuff like that. But yeah, I've already done my business planning. I already know how many units I need to be selling in January, February, March, April. I break it down. I already know how many people I need to be in contact with, although I'm not a phone person. I'm more of a face-to-face. So it'll be interesting because, I can't do face-to-face with COVID,
Right.
But yeah, I already know the amount of units, I already know the amount of units I want him to bring in, and all that stuff. So.
Well,
And then I know that you hired someone last year, right, Jennifer? Do you still have leverage? Are you having an admin help you out still?
Yeah, no, I don't. She's actually with another agent out of KW. She went over to another KW agent, but yeah, no, with the whole COVID thing, I was just coming out of the whole losing my stepdad and my best friend's dad. Just coming out of that funk and kind of getting things going, and then COVID shut us down. So it just wasn't, great timing.
right.
But yeah, things are starting to, this year's been better than expected. I'm very unit driven. I think you need to focus on units versus the volume, because over time, those units will turn into volume. So, this year has been a down year for units wise, but my volume, surprisingly, I think I'm up over $200,000 of a transaction now, which last year I was at 115. Now the market itself contributes to that because home values are up so much.
Right.
But yeah, and admin certainly kind of help you leverage. I unfortunately was not really able to capitalize too much on that just because of the timing, she was just getting started and really going full force, and then, so much tragedy and all that. And then, but yeah, you definitely need you need the transactions, because that's the thing too. If you want to open up to an admin, you really should be, at least if you're going by the MREA, you should be between 3 and 4 units a month. So, if you're only doing 2, and I was between 2 and 3, but because I struggle with systems, quite frankly, I knew I lost quite a bit of business. So I felt that, okay, I'm in between 2 and 3. I should be between 3 and 4. However, if I had that help, I wouldn't lose the business, and then I would be between that 3 and 4.
Right.
So anyone considering, an admin, you should be between 3 and 4, and certainly listen, read the MREA for anyone who hasn't.
Absolutely. So where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Well, with Keller Williams, not. No, I'm kidding.
Funny guy.
I know. No, that's interesting. It's interesting because I think, especially this year, I think with the whole COVID has really shifted my mindset on where I personally might want to be versus where I thought I would want to be. And I think that, that over time that comes out, because especially when you're newer, you're like, oh my gosh, I want to be that $90 million a year team lead and all that stuff. But, that's not for everyone, and so it's interesting. I don't know, I say that because I was the agent that wanted to be the next Anthony Butera, right? And I don't know if I want to be that anymore, and that's okay. If you want to be that big agent, that's fine. If you want to be that moderate agent, that's fine too. As I do build a little bit of a team, I think it's going to be more of an intimate team, more of like maybe an admin and maybe 1 buyer agent. I don't know if I would really want to bring on, 10 buyer agents and, 5 admins and, all that stuff. So that's a question that's difficult for me to answer,
Okay.
because it's been something I've been struggling with. just because I feel like I'm in the middle of where I knew where I wanted to be versus where I think I'm wanting to be now.
Right. Right. No,
You know?
no, I get it. I get it.
But that's more of
So
an individual thing though, I think too.
any advice for our new agent? Like if you had to do something over again, what would you do? Or what do you feel like you've done exceptionally well and that you could pass on to these people?
Well, coaching, like I said, when I first came on, coaching was brand new, right? I mean, Jared Karecki and Jenna May, they all came on like right before me. I mean, we pretty much all came on, relatively speaking, the same time. But it wasn't required. It was only volunteer at the time.
Yeah.
And they all got on board. And, I look at what I did versus what they did, right? They all did, I would say their first year, probably a good 2 million. I think Jenna May did like 6, 7 million her first year, right? I mean, crazy. But they had that accountability, I didn't have that accountability for a year, and then ironically, as soon as I got into it, I had a great year following that. So I think coaching is a big thing. I also think grit, I would recommend Googling, there's a TED Talk on grit. I can't remember how you Google it, but it's an Asian lady that talks about grit, and it's amazing. But I'd recommend watching that. But this is not an overnight success business. Yes, there's a handful of agents that come right out of the gates and are going to be successful. But as long as this is your passion, you have to have the grit. You have to give it time. You have to give yourself time. You have to have patience, not only with the business and your clients, but you also have to have patience with yourself. Because it is a learning process. I don't care how good you are or how good you think you are. I don't know about real estate, but I was in a part of something years ago that said that salespeople had a tendency to have the hardest time in certain sales businesses because they have that sales mentality, right? And, first of all, be you, whoever you are, right? That's how you're going to connect with people. And yet, one of my biggest issues with New York State is that we are required to put real estate salesperson on our business cards. Because to me, we're not salespeople. Yes, we help people buy and sell homes. However, we are first and foremost a fiduciary, which to me oftentimes flies in the face of sales. Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, that's just me. So to me, coaching, grit, patience, and build relationships. Have fun with it. People are attracted to success. So some people don't like it. I'm a fan of fake it till you make it, kind of thing. Post on Facebook or whatever social media platforms you use, post what you're doing. When I don't do it so much now, but especially when I was newer, every time I was at an open house, I'd go to Dunkin' Donuts and get a box of Joe and cookies. People coming through would never get a cup of coffee or anything. I'd take it home and drink and eat the cookies and stuff. But I would take a picture of it, and post it on Facebook, say, hey, come see me at 123 ABC Street, Right. And people saw that activity, and, as time goes on, people catch on to, hey, you know what? Sarah might be having some experience now, let me give Sarah a call. Now Sarah's become top of mind with her database without even realizing it.
Right.
Going back to as an investor, I had a single family in the Clifford Goodman area that I just sold earlier this year. And when I first bought that, I was fixing that up. I was doing things. And for the first time, I was posting before and after pictures. And this was before I was a real estate agent, before I even had an inclination I'd want to be a real estate agent. But I woke up one day and I realized people were reaching out to me, asking me questions about real estate. Right. And I realized I'm top of mind.
Right.
And it was simply just by posting things on Facebook.
Right.
I know there's Instagram, I know there's Twitter, there's all these other platforms, whatever you use. To me, I highly recommend social media, but be careful what you put up there.
Yes, yes,
'cause
especially now.
Yes, because
You're saying you don't like my political posts?
I hear you. Well, it's interesting. Thank you, Rita, for bringing that up, because those who I personally never understand, and everybody's different. I'm not judging. I'm not whatever. I don't understand why people post political stuff when they're in real estate. And here's why. There's people that I 100% agree with that I block my ability to see their pages. You want to know why? Because I don't want to see it. I think generally speaking, most people are so tired of the division, so tired of the stuff. Why in the world do we want our database blocking? They don't want to defriend you, but they're not following you anymore.
Right.
And to me, that is business suicide right there. So I know people have passion, and everyone's different. There are people that make a lot of, they're big into politics. They run for political positions or whatever, and it works for them. Doesn't work for me.
Right.
I hear you loud and clear.
Okay.
Well, does anybody have any questions for David? You can ask them outright or throw them in the chat box. Doesn't matter to me.
What do you find to be like the most effective? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. What do you find to be the most effective way for you to prospect with your sphere aside from Facebook?
So let me repeat what I think because you were kind of going in and out. What do I find to be the most effective way of reaching my database? Or
yeah.
Okay.
Like aside from Facebook.
Aside from Facebook.
Because I'm all over the whole social media thing. But.
Yeah, I'm social, and again, I know right now we can't do this, but I would tend to go to happy hours. As I've gotten older, I don't like going very much, but especially if you're younger, if you're up for it, I like just being around people, and I had said before to make sure everybody knows that you're an agent. At the same time, you also have to be careful. Don't make it all about business, right? I mean, you want to make sure they know you're an agent, but you also want them to know that you're fun and, and just hanging out. You don't want them to feel like you're, bad, going against them all the time and hounding them. But, I don't know. I've really become so social media driven. I personally am social media and referral business. I have a lot of people on social media that, send me business, because of that. Just making people see your personal self, you personally too. But that's one thing this year I've tried to do a better job on. Because I used to, on Facebook, I used to probably be 90% business, and I think one thing I've seen in that is the danger is sometimes people can get the perception that you're too busy, right? If you're doing nothing but post business stuff, you're too busy. And although they want a successful agent, although they want someone that knows what they're doing, they don't want someone that they perceive as not having time to work with them. Okay. And I know for a fact I've lost a couple people because of that. So, especially this year, I really, through the whole COVID thing, tried to be more personable. I'm trying to, this is just me. I'm not a phone person. I'm trying to address that though. I'm trying to find time to at least call people I know. And
yeah, that's my biggest hurdle. Like my whole generation doesn't use it. We don't talk on the phone. We just or email.
Yeah, I know, and that's
call your sphere. I'm like, I don't want to talk to them on the phone.
Yeah, and that's tough because I think especially as you get more experience and you build your business, I think that's something that you're going to have to try to working with them on, because as great as texting is, I will tell you, I I'd be willing to say that every single client I've ever had that has had issues, it's all 100% been misinterpretation through texting.
Mhm.
As great as texting is, you have to be right up front in the very beginning. I am open to communicating with you in the manner you want. And at the same time, if texting, for example, is your best option, there are certain parts of this process that are not meant for texting. Okay. And I will be calling you and we will need to talk. I don't want to be texting, the negotiations, if we're going to be talking about what type of offer we're putting together or whatever, we're not texting any of that. Right. So that's certainly, obviously I'm not at your age, so I can't relate specifically, but that is certainly my biggest frustration because I used to hate texting, and being a real estate agent, I've adapted to it. But I still somewhat don't like it because, it's also carpal tunnel. I think I'm starting to get some carpal tunnel too.
It's really hard to have an in-depth conversation. Like at some point in time, an actual physical, either in person or a phone conversation needs to happen. It's just a good use of time. You need the human interaction. You need all of that stuff. Because again, like at the end of the day, this is all about relationships. You're building relationships. How do you exactly exude who you are if you're solely texting?
Right. And I'm glad I put this as a reminder. So you see this here? Everyone knows what this is, right? It's a video
Yeah.
camera. So I started off, like I said, I started off on a team. And that first year, I'd only done 2 transactions for a total of $195,000, right? So although I did a lot of open houses, and every open house I did, I posted on Facebook and showed activity. In reality, I really didn't have business, However, when I went on my own, I hired Lisa Watson as a coach. I did a video and I posted it to Facebook. And I kid you not, within 1 week, I had 3 listings. Okay. That video had showed, in hindsight, had shown strength, had shown success, even though I didn't, define success, right? Right. I didn't have success as far as the amount of clients that I've been working with or whatnot. But that video also allowed me to be physically seen in more of a real life, instead of just through a picture, especially a lot of people are on Facebook. I have over 3,000 people on my Facebook. 90% of them, I probably don't even know what their voice sounds like, right?
Right.
So that, doing videos, 2 or 3 years ago, we used to have, I don't even think we have it, but we used to have a realtor seminar that was downtown. GRAR brought people in. And there was this one national person talking about social media. And they had said that it was getting to the point where our attention spans were narrowing so much that it's going to get to the point where people, if you're physically typing something out and posting it, most people are now scrolling right past it. Okay, that if you're not doing a video, there's actually a large part of your database that are on social media that won't even know what you're saying because, unless it's a one-liner, they're just going right by it.
Right.
So that's where technology has taken us to, but technology, just find ways, Sarah, to connect in, maybe start, I don't know what you like on the side. I don't, if you have a personal liking. Some people like gardening, maybe create a garden club and do a once a week kind of thing of where everybody's coming together, in Zoom, or maybe do a fun video once a month kind of thing and post it on Facebook or Instagram or whatever platform you're mainly using. I caution being careful. I think sometimes we can be too spread out. So you might be using Facebook, Instagram, whatever, but choose one. And I could be wrong here, but I think, to me, it can become too difficult when you're spreading yourself too thin and you're trying to juggle too many platforms.
Right. Pick one
Yeah.
and stick it.
What's
For
that?
sure. Pick it and stick it.
Exactly. You
Become
know?
good at it, right?
Exactly. So I try to get on the Instagram. I try to get on the Twitter, but Facebook works for me. You know, and maybe I'm losing some opportunity there, but
Right, right. I love that, Ron. He says his golf buddy called him out of the blue the other day to help him find a vacation home. I love that. Good
Nice.
job, bud. Good job. So anyway, thank you, David, for taking the time to chat with us this morning. Did anybody have any further or last questions for David?
So everyone knows where babies come from now. that used to be one of my favorite jokes. People would ask me, "Do you have any questions?" I'm like, yeah, where do babies come from?
You're so funny. You're funny. That'll be, oh, I don't know, a Zoom thing for another time, maybe a happy hour.
So babies come from Zoom meetings now, huh? I mean, is that where technology is taking us? Oh my goodness.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you so much, David, for taking your time out of your day to chat with us. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate you. Love all of you guys. Thank you so much for showing up this morning.
Great job.
And you know where David is if you've got any questions for him. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mary, for reaching out. I don't know if she's still on there, but thank you for reaching out to ask me to be part of this. And thank you everyone for your time, and
You're welcome.
Go out and get it. Let's rock out 2021. We're already in it, remember?
Yep, we are. Rock it
We're in
out,
January,
guys.
so make January a great month.
Yes.
Bye.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.